For PokerGaming.com, this is James Gwill. Event number 21 of the 2010 World Series of Poker was the $1,500 7-card stud bracelet event. Now this event started with 408 players looking to take down the bracelet, and a good chunk of this field were stud specialists and pros. Now, the $10,000 stud 8 bubble boy, Alexander Dovchenko, was one of the players that ended up making the money in this event, with 40 players cashing in this event. He finished in 39th. Chip Jett, a very strong stud player, finished 33rd in this event, and Barbara Lewis took 27th. Scott Sevier finished in 19th, and Alexander Kravchenko was ultimately the final table bubble boy, finishing in 9th place. Now, this is a very strong final table to be a $1,500 bracelet event, as we had Pat Pezin, Sorrel Mizzi, Dan Heimiller, and John Turner all at this final table, as well as Richard Ashby. However, a lot of eyes were on Christine Peitsch. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing her name right, but a lot of folks were watching Miss Peitsch, as she was one of the first non-big name professional women to make the final table of this WSOP. Jennifer Harmon and J.J. Liu made final tables earlier in the WSOP. However, this was the first non-big name professional to actually make a final table. So she was facing a very strong field, and Sorrel Mizzi actually started as a chip leader of this final table. Now, a couple of names that were also at the final table that are not well known were Darren Chabel and Awais Ahmed. As I stated, Mizzi started the event as a chip leader, but stud, much like other limit games, can be a very swingy game, and at the limits that they were playing at this final table, a couple of pots lost here and there can actually cost you a lot of chips, and that's what happened in his case, as he ultimately finished in 6th place. However, Christine Peitsch would actually soar at this final table and actually led it for a good chunk of the final. Eventually, she was heads up with Richard Ashby. Unfortunately, she fell victim to the swinginess of the game, and ultimately a couple of big pots resulted in her being very short-stacked. Ultimately, she moved all in on 4th Street with King High and 3 clubs. Ashby made the call with buried queens. Now, Peitsch improved to a pair of 10s on 5th and actually also picked up a Broadway draw on 6th. However, that's about as far as she got. Ashby caught queens up on 6th, and that was good enough for him to take the hand and ultimately the title. Christine Peitsch put on a strong show for the ladies, but she fell short and finished in 2nd place, good for $86,756. Richard Ashby is the event number 21 champion. He takes home the last regular stud bracelet of this WSOP and $140,467. For PokerGaming.com, this is James Gwill. For more, stay tuned to PokerGaming.com as we bring you more coverage and recaps from the 2010 World Series of Poker.